Skirt Magazine recently interviewed the new Women with Pride coordinator at the Pride Center at Equality Park, Diane Pappafotis. A transplant from Washington, D.C., Diane has lived in the Wilton Manors area for just under 3 years. After many years with the nonprofit Leading Age, based in D.C., she decided to pursue interests closer to home. In addition to her role at the Pride Center, Diane is a founding team member of Skirt Magazine and is on the executive team for Friends of Wilton Manors Parks, a nonprofit dedicated to the preservation of green space within the city of Wilton Manors. We chatted a bit about her nonprofit journey, her ideas for her role as the new Women with Pride coordinator, and what energizes her each and every day. We hope you enjoy the interview. Just want to thank you for coming on board here and having a little chat about what you do at the Pride Center at Equality Park.
That's it.
Women with Pride coordinator. What do you do as a coordinator?
That's a great question. And I'm still in part figuring that out. But what I'm supposed to be doing is leading up the Women with Pride program, which has been at the Pride Center for quite a number of years. I don't know how many, but it's essentially a focus on providing services for women, and that can be any type of educational services, linkage to community services and social services, programming for women, events for women, and really anything that has a focus on women in the community.
Let me ask you about your journey to get to this point. You have an extensive background in nonprofit as well as in technology. What does your past have to do with where you are today?
Well, it's very odd. I'm going to start by telling you that I've been in Florida almost 3 years. September, it'll be 3 years that I moved to Wilton Manors from Washington, D.C. And I knew about the Pride Center before moving here for a couple of reasons. Number one, I was looking for affordable housing in the LGBTQ community. My previous work with Leading Age, a national nonprofit that provides, is a membership association, and all of the members provide services to older adults. And I'd really become very interested in affordable housing and learned a lot about affordable housing for the LGBTQ community across the country. And so it was just a personal interest of mine. And through a friend, I had heard about Equality Park, the residences at Equality Park. So I looked this up while I was in DC, just very curious. And the residences at Equality Park and the Pride Center had not been built, but they were well underway. So I started to follow the journey of the residences at Equality Park and became very interested in the Pride Center. And somehow I knew that I would be connected with them. I just didn't know how. And I had no idea that I would be working with the Pride Center. So I knew that there was a connection. And then when I moved here to South Florida, I loved my work with Leading Age. I just did not want to travel back and forth between Washington, D.C. I loved working in the nonprofit space. I love serving others, and I knew that would be part of my future. So it really was a marrying of my personal interests and my professional background in the nonprofit space.
You took a break in between. And during that break, were there things that you started to maybe learn also about yourself and about what worked for you that may have contributed to you pursuing a position at the Pride Center?
Absolutely. Well, first thing I learned during that break was I enjoyed not working. It was fantastic. I played a little extra pickleball. I'm studying to get my certification to teach yoga. I spent time doing that. I really knew that I wanted to be part of my community and be connected with the people in my community. Again, I didn't know how. So having that time off really allowed me to say, okay, I know what I don't want to do, but let me figure out what it is that I want to do. And I don't want to force it. I just want to explore. I want to figure out what comes my way through personal connections. And really, there was a couple of opportunities, a couple of positions at the Pride Center. And when those both became available, I sort of tried it on for size. I said, what is it that I want to be doing next? And am I ready? Am I ready to start working again, knowing that I'm taking a break? And the Women with Pride position was really appealing to me because of the work that I am doing outside of my present position with Skirt Magazine, and also learning about how to better serve my community, how I can best do that. And I really thought it would just be a great fit for me. And it was also part-time work. I wasn't quite ready to go back full-time. I really wanted to be able to spend some of my additional time in other areas working on my yoga. I'm part of a nonprofit organization in Wilton Manors. So it was a really good opportunity to sit back and see what opened up. And this position with the Pride Center opened up, and so far it's been a great marriage.
One of the things that women in the community do or not do is either get involved, or once they get involved, stay involved. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to see what you thought about how that may be approached in terms of solving that, or if you know why women do that. Why do women get involved and then jump out and then maybe not stay involved, or how to get them to come to programs or things that are going on?
Gosh, I have no idea. And I am a woman in the community, so I should be asking myself that first. Well, I think looking at all the other services that the Pride Center provides, I really want to figure out, it's not about getting women involved, it's how to serve women. And that could mean getting them involved in different activities. But it's really, for me, the focus is around providing services, needed services, whether that be something having to do with free breast exams, or educational services, or social services. We have at the Pride Center, they have had a help directory for a long time. And I'm going to work on updating that and making sure that's available for women. And all of the providers in the health directory are LGBTQ proficient, and they have to be vetted before we put them in the directory. So for me, the focus first is about how to provide services for women, in part, like you said, figuring out what that is. And that could be involvement in different activities of the Pride Center, but it's really figuring out how to best serve women, and along the same lines that the Pride Center has been serving the men in the community for a long time. So I really want that to be the focus of figuring out what are the needs.
Are there pathways that you see maybe working better, move in those directions for serving women in the community better?
Yeah, absolutely. And it starts with me, first and foremost, my presence at the Pride Center and being the advocate for women and women's services. There's a good example would be, there's a lesbian discussion group that meets once a month, and they are so interested in helping figure out how to serve more women, how to get women involved in the Pride Center. So fantastic. Start with those groups that are already actively involved in the Pride Center. And I want to build on some of the programs that we have already. So I think I have to start with what's there. But in part, I see my leadership and my involvement in the Pride Center as a woman in the community, and bringing some of my own personal interests and contacts together. That's how it's going to start. And one thing that I can really think of that the Pride Center has done a couple of years ago, and it could be 4 or 5 years ago now, they had an art event there. And when I heard about that, I was involved in helping put together an art event for my pickleball community. And I want to do more of that. I want to expand on that because it's a personal interest of mine. And I think it's a great way to provide some education and some art and culture and bring that together. And that could be hosted at the Pride Center. So again, it's my own involvement in the community, my own enthusiasm and desire to have the Pride Center be involved and support women's activities. And a lot of that's going to start with me, and it's going to start with other people who want to be involved in the Pride Center. So I'm looking to put together some volunteers, a network of volunteers, and a group of women, whether we call it a committee or a working group. I want others involved to help think about it, because I don't have all the answers and I don't have all the ideas, but I know people who are interested in being a part of helping the Pride Center serve the women's community. So again, bringing them together, and really it starts with me.
Sometimes diversity, though, is also an issue. Do you have also some thoughts on reaching out to groups that maybe aren't really at the table so much?
Yes. When I think about services for women, for example, and it could be like the I forget what that's called, the Mammovan, providing Mammovan services to women. So it's one thing to be able to bring that maybe to the Pride Center and serve all women. It doesn't matter age, it doesn't matter race, nothing. That the Pride Center would serve everyone. But then how do you reach people who may not be able to get to the Pride Center to have this free screening or know about it? And I think that's the nut to crack. But in my eyes, when I talk about serving people, it doesn't matter who they are. It's really looking at how to make those connections into the community to make sure that everyone has access to services, these free services, and knows about it. And so, again, that starts with me and making connections with people in the community, figuring out how to use social media to reach people, how to use the leverage the different organizations that I'm working with. I'm talking with Aqua Foundation and the Broward Foundation. We're going to have a school supply drive. So there's lots of organizations that I think will allow the Pride Center and myself to reach deeper into the community, but it's making those connections and ensuring that everybody has access to these services. Because in my eyes, these services and programs should be available to everyone. And so there's going to be no barriers there. It's just really figuring out how do we make those connections.
And sometimes I think of you as perpetual motion, that you're always moving. So when you get up in the morning, what do you find, or you go through the day, what do you find energizes? What gets you going? What's your passion?
Yeah. Pickleball, usually. I've been getting up super early to play pickleball first thing in the morning, and I love the sport. It's great. And I actually find that when I play first thing in the morning for a couple hours, that gives me a lot of energy. I don't do well in the evenings, and playing 6 at night is excruciating, but 6 in the morning I can do. So that kind of sets my day. So I've got the blood flowing. I'm ready to go. And then I find now with my new position, I really look to say, who am I going to make connections with today? Because I think it's really early in my role, it's all about making connections to allow people to know about the Pride Center, that we want to support women, that we are looking to build some programming. So today I made a connection with someone who serves the homeless every Thursday through their affiliation through their church. And so I'm super excited to volunteer and connect with them and figure out what that partnership might look like. And can the Pride Center partner with another organization? I'm also looking at different events, and I'm pretty good at talking and socializing, I've been told. And I think one way to really make connections with people and figuring out how to support the women's community is possibly through some social events or some educational events. So I'm really been thinking about that because I know I've gotten some feedback from some folks to say, look, we just want a place where women can come together and meet. Fantastic. That's in my opinion low hanging fruit, and then you build on that. So you make the connections, and I want women to know that the Pride Center supports them. So that may just be starting out with some social events and then getting people involved and getting those ideas going. And once we hear from different women, the ideas are going to flow and they say, hey, we'd love to see this. We'd love to see that. This is something that the Pride Center can do to serve the community. But right now, I don't have all those answers. So it's really about networking and letting women know that the Pride Center supports them.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Skirt Magazine would like to thank Diane for her time and all of you for listening.